6 months to live, by the way, that's not always clear. A clear, settled and informed wish, and you must be free of pressure from other people. You then would have had to make 2 declarations of desire to end your life, witnessed and signed. 2 independent doctors confirm that you can. Then a High Court judge comes in. Then there's a 7-day pause, and then there's another judge comes in. And there's been a lot of discussion about all of this, and this is how it's going now. So these are the changes. Judges won't be involved. They in the end said that we haven't got time. So you'll have expert panels.
Thank you.
The second thing is there'll be more time for the law to settle down and be implemented if the MPs pass it. Support within it for people with disabilities. Healthcare staff can opt out and say we don't want anything to do with it. No question under 18s having assisted dying under any circumstances. And by the way, no adverts, if you can imagine that, for assisted dying services. This was the vote last time. It was pretty clear that MPs wanted it. It's read, obviously, mainly Labour MPs because they're in the majority. But we've now seen different people come out. The Justice Secretary against, the Health Secretary voting against, 3 former Tory Prime Ministers opposing it. Ed Miliband saying, I think I like this bill. David Cameron says, I'm going to change my mind and come for it. Kemi Badenoch, Diane Abbott expressing fears. Liz Kendall in the cabinet, she'll vote for it. So it's a real hodgepodge of different opinions. And in amidst all of this, you would be justified in saying, wait a minute, where in the middle of all of this to and fro in Westminster, which is all classic politics, is the person who's in the hospital ward, who's near the end of their life and who needs help to die? Where are these people?
Back with my scissors.
It's a good question, isn't it?
I'm back with my scissors.
It's a very serious subject, Pfizer, isn't it?
It's very serious, and I think that point there about listening to the groups that would be affected, and there's I can see the arguments, and I've heard really compelling stories where I understand that people would want to make that decision to end their life. But there's also disability groups, especially, that we're hearing a lot from, and people around some of the clauses on mental health, people don't think that's strong enough. It's such a huge change, you know. It, you know, in a sense, it legalizes state death. I mean, it's quite a big thing for us to move to, and I think there are some really serious concerns. So I actually think that it should fail at this point.
Okay.
We need quite a lot more.
Mike, where
I
are
would
you?
feel comfortable.
Well, I'm in favour of assisted dying, and the last sentence there involved the word state. And I don't think it should be so much an issue for the state as for the individual. And I think the individual should have more choice about how to end their life. Somebody told me, and I was talking about this last night, it's not about shortening somebody's life, it's about shortening somebody's death. Because death can be horrible. A friend of mine had stomach cancer, he was on morphine tablets. Once those morphine tablets wore off and he couldn't take any more, my mate was rolling around on the floor in agony, and I could see the reason for it. I thought the original safeguards were excellent, but I think the new adjusted safeguards are still okay, and I think it's an overcomplicated issue. If somebody wants to end their life because the quality of their life is so bad, then they should be given the ability to do that without the state getting too badly
involved. What about, Mike, one issue is the classic thing where the older person, she's 84, no, that's my mum, she's 91, and her 8 kids are all saying the same thing to her, which is that we can't afford your care anymore. And she begins to believe it would be better for her kids, for her to be given the means to kill herself.
Yeah.
That's pressure.
Well,
and that's not fair.
No, is it pressure or is it part of the life cycle? When you get to 91 and you feel you're a burden on your children, that affects the mental state in which you live, and that might have some influence.
So you think that would be that decision would be rational, even though it's your kids leaning on you?
They're not leaning on you. You are suddenly realising that, you know, your life now is having a huge effect on your children, even your grandchildren, and that will affect your mental ability to consider how long do I want to live. Sorry, just one more thing.
Quickly, yeah.
When my mum was 85, she said to my sister, I've had enough. Life had become too burdensome for her, and I think if other people think that way, they should have the ability to make their own choices.
But I mean, the question is why, right? Because there is that, I get that, you know, the individual decision, but we live in a society, and unfortunately this society isn't supporting people, isn't assisting them to live way that it should be. So our NHS has been in trouble for a while. We know that our social care is extremely expensive. We know that our end-of-life care is lacking, is underfunded, right? So only 50% of Mary Curie Centre did some work on this. Only 50% of people that need that last palliative care are getting it. And so in that scenario, can you make a decision that isn't about, you know, actually it's going to cost too much? And it's like, I would hate for my parents, right? My parents have both passed away, but you know, for anyone in my family to think, oh, the reason that I should die early is because I want to give more money to my kids or whatever, and I would hate that.
Mike's taken the bull by the horns here, because he says part of the decision might be, I cannot impose a charge of £70,000 a year on my family for me to have care at home or whatever it is.
Yeah, but that shouldn't be, do you know what I mean? Like the
Why
sanctity
shouldn't
of
it
life.
be? But why shouldn't it be part of it?
Because, right, if you're making a decision, if you weren't thinking about those things, if you're like, okay,
That's my toenails.
I've had enough or whatever, then that's... If you're bringing money into it, I think it undermines the kind of...
Let's take a call. Leading Glasgow High.
Good morning,
Are you hoping this goes through? Because it may fail today.
I'm hoping it goes through. I have cancer. I have secondary breast cancer. It's not curable. It's not
This isn't my first taste of
I'm
failure.
taking treatment at the moment, and when that treatment
When you
stops
fall,
working,
you get
then
back up
I'm
again
taking,
and become
I'm
stronger.
not taking any
That's how it
treatment.
is.
And I think I should have the right to die the way I want to die, and not in a hospital bed in pain or whatever.
There was a case in Belgium where a young woman took her own life under the law because she had just completely intractable depression. Now, how do we ensure that doesn't happen then?
Right, well, for starters, the very first point
The answer to one is
let's follow the for you to ask for it. It's not a blanket of everybody's going to get it. You need to ask for it. You also need to have a 6-month diagnosis where the doctors are saying, right, 6 months is really where we think you're going to be. So there's the very beginning of this is what takes time.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Lynn, and all the best to you in dealing with your illness. I really appreciate your call. After the break, we'll take more calls on whether we should ditch this assisted dying bill. It seemed like it was going to sail through last year. Now people are starting to have qualms for reasons we've discussed. 0207 22222. What event rescued the Great Gatsby from obscurity after a novel initially flopped? Was it the Great Depression, World War II, or the moon landing? I can't believe it was back at this point. What's happening?
Oh my gosh!
Here we go.
Oh, but she's having.
They are family.
even when falling leaves don't come from
Explore the
like
world
meteors.
the Viking way.
Both made a journey through the
And the
stars.
quiet comfort
Both
of
travelers
elegant
who have landed on a planet that is not your
young
home.
children and
Yet,
young casinos.
she first noticed your presence.
Although
she hesitated.
for the thinking person. Viking, exploring the world in comfort.
Seems like you've answered your own question.
Learn more at viking.com.
Skirk sees herself as a trespasser in this world. She's made a conscious choice to avoid altering its path. But the reason for that decision stems from events much earlier on in
Take your
her life.
pleasure beyond with the new Magnum Utopia. Double hazelnut and double cherry.
Still a long
Magnum,
way to the
true
source
to
of the
pleasure.
river.
Which would you choose? This little blanket or this one? From Woucher. Woucher. Save now. Live wow.
Moscow presents our biggest menu ever, featuring
10-minute meals, global cuisines, family classics, all with fresh ingredients. It's bigger, better, tastier. You have to take into account the value of this food. Now with over 500 which is incredibly reasonable. Sign up now for 50% off. You now have what it takes to win immense power. From this day forth, I shall teach you no one can become a worthy warrior.
You wish me to travel the world beyond on my own?
Indeed. We will still have contact through this. But know this.
Why do you do that?
I have told you before. You have tasted loss. You have known what is living beings. We all have it now.
Give your kids that payday feeling. With Go Henry, kids learn to earn, save, spend, and invest.
That
All
is
in
what
one day.
Skirk's master found. Sort of course, he could appear as a
And making smarter spending decisions.
For certain reasons, I need to bridge the path. To do that, I need to follow.
I'll let you in on a little secret. The scope of his power is impossible to understand.
Tasty quick meal. Satisfy your animal. With new pepperoni chicken tikka skewers.
Celebrity puzzling! Where Carol Vorderman and Sally Muji and their celebrity teammates try to puzzle their way to victory. It's moves in the time warp.
Okay, just the left hand and hit
Brand new celebrity puzzling, Monday to Friday at 7 p.m. Watch, stream on Fire.
Quite a ways already. This is Skirk. First we can train under certain
Before the break, we asked what event rescued the Great Gatsby from obscurity. I didn't know it had flopped. Great Depression, World War II, moon landing. The answer is World War II.
Can I ask a question, Master? Keep thinking.
F. Scott Fitzgerald's novel was a failure when it was
I
published.
don't want to draw
What
my
year was
sword
that?
against you,
It
Master.
was published in 1920.
Yes, Master.
But after the Second World War, right as the Second World War ended, they shipped
After some time,
copies of it
it's
to all the
not
service
that
personnel
human
around the world.
emotion disappeared.
And I think 125,000 or something. And basically, suddenly it started being read, which is the thing.
Amazing.
Yeah, but it's a great book. I mean, how can it not
I
have
was surprised for that.
I was. It's so
But in a
fantastic.
way, the fact that they shipped it so that they kind of forcibly made
They
it
did.
come out again.
There
Otherwise,
was
we
a,
would
yeah.
be buried.
It became technically a bestseller, which made more people read it. Later, we'll be asking people who hate the warm weather, like these two, are grumps. We've got a couple of here on the panel. You can try and make up.
I hate it. I really do. I look at the sun and burn myself out. You know, in my lifetime.
Now you're called the red. Behind the proposed changes has warned it could be a decade before the issue returns to Parliament if MPs reject assisted dying. Critics of her bill say it's a dog's dinner. 0207 862 2222. But it was always going to be complicated to get some sort of rules here. Carol is in Brighton. Hi, Carol.
Oh, good morning, darling.
Very well. Do you think we should go ahead with this?
No one had Skirk
I
had
just told her
school
the
that
story
so many
about my
times
mother.
before. So she was not caught in the immediate wave of destruction. Countless people cried out to her for help. Their lives were discarded. Sertology had been there in that moment. Because she and her people were seekers of threat.
She lived
The initial merchant ship expedition further research revealed that, for that reason, if those with power get to decide good and evil, Skirk is waiting over there. Let's go to her.
I'm feeding her all what I could. The day she died, it was obvious that she knew who I was, and I sat with her for 3/4 of an hour.
What you series of facts, and the facts could be on either side of the argument, actually, because you might be saying, yes, because you might be saying that
Just
that
so you
last
could
2.5
bring her
months
here.
when your mother at times did not know who you were, she shouldn't have
I have things to say to you.
No, I didn't.
Well,
I think she
To me,
did.
I want someone to witness our reconciliation. Her suppressed emotional self.
I wasn't
The
very
version of
suffered
herself
that
she
much.
keeps
She
locked
was
in the
very
recesses
much-
of her mind. All those
she wouldn't
rejected
ask you
impulses.
worried that she would have
Those
asked
discarded
for assisted
aspects of
suicide
your
if the law
past.
had been
I
there.
am who you
No,
used to
she
be.
wasn't.
Okay.
Someone you have refused to face for two.
You're wrong. I've faced
I
you all
wonder whether we're ready
along.
for thank
Your
you, Kat.
existence
Whether
makes
we're
me
ready for the
weak.
trauma
Don't
of
forget, it was a
saying,
penchant
you know,
for
how
good.
did your mum
Even
die,
so,
and people
learn,
saying,
strip yourself.
The difference is that I'm doing what is. I allow you to. I've shouldered everything you couldn't carry. I rose above the numbness and emptiness.
That is the problem. I want on the grand scale. Think back to those nights, gazing at the stars. Those afternoons of exploring the unknown.
Still, and then have with you, and like in and out of consciousness, feel something, and it's.
I think there's two schools of thought on that.
That isn't what we need.
That's true, but I mean, my dad really
Finally,
suffered, and
get to
I-
the
you know, I
important
can't
part.
get the images
That
out.
is the
Yeah, my
only.
mum wasn't
And look
suffering in that
around.
way, so I think it's
You
just
cast
different.
aside now.
And you think that means I should.
There's a good death and a bad death, and a bad death is a horrible thing to experience. I also think we should take out of the equation
Thank you for
assisted
saying that.
suicide.
I knew
Because
bringing you
you're
here
not
would be the right
committing
choice.
suicide, you're trying
To
to
be honest,
end your
I'm not here
painful
to
life.
argue
But it
with
is assisted suicide.
It's
This
not
isn't
a
about
You're
who's
dying at your
right
own
or
hand,
wrong.
correct?
And in
chose
fact, I
to
agree
die.
that
You're
in
not
order to
assisting
make it through the
suicide, you
wake of
chose
that
to die.
tragedy,
You're not-
we
you're
had to
not
distance
saying,
ourselves
right,
from
I'm
the
gonna,
pain,
you
the
know,
reason over
suddenly
emotion.
end my life. You've made a conscious decision. My life is no longer bearable. I've decided to go.
Lots of people that end their lives and are not with a serious illness. Let's say that
Okay,
too.
let's
So
go
it
to
is
Alan.
suicide.
Alan in Hampshire, you work as a community nurse, Alan.
I was a community carer for 20 years.
Okay, so you've seen a lot of people at the end of their lives.
I now have been diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear that.
I had a client had prostate cancer. We had to wash him, dress him. Well, we couldn't dress him because we couldn't get him out of bed. He was screaming.
I was right at one point in time.
He
Is
was
it
in
always
so much
right
pain.
forever?
He was on the
And
highest
I
amount
know
of
that
morphine
among the voices that
he was
haunt
allowed
you,
to have.
all those unfulfilled hopes are
Towards the
like
end of his
knives
life,
to the heart.
his wife called an
I don't want you
ambulance
to
crew
hurt
out
him.
because he was in so much
Keep
pain.
thinking.
And the ambulance crew
Maybe it would
turned
be
around
better
and
if
said,
I had
"We're
done.
sorry, there's nothing we can do. He's going to die at any time."
Your dad and I,
And
we're
we
not
had
afraid to stare death in the
cared
face.
for- I cared for this gentleman for about 4 months. And I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
No, you raise a good point. I always think, Alan, and you've maybe shown me the truth of this. I thought we'd sorted out pain control. So I thought that a big part of this argument, which is that you're not in pain, is gone because we now can basically put people on automatic morphine. And what you said suggests that I'm wrong.
But you
I
can only
remember.
put on
There was a song Mom and Dad always sang when we went out to dancing water. Sand along it. I am not the dancing water.
Back in the day, you go, sorry, Alan, beg pardon.
My question
I
is,
should be thankful.
all these MPs that are going to vote today, how many of them actually seen somebody withering and dying in pain in front of them?
Okay, Alan, thank you very much indeed. Of course, back in the day, you would have morphine, and they would up it, and they'd up it. Yeah. My point is, they would give you more. And then it would be focused. And one word, they would change. You just can't. The doctors won't do that. They don't want to be consequences. Derek in London, hello.
Did you survive? Why was it only you?
Skirk, did you become a positive light in this world?
But in a way, that's what morphine does, isn't it? That's the point. Yeah.
I don't want to live like
This
that.
doesn't have to be the end.
I've had
Well, listen, Derek, keep going. Thank you. And I tell you what, we're getting so many calls on this. We'll take a couple more after the break. 0207 862 2222 is the number. This person in history to become what? Is it a lieutenant in the Navy, a UN ambassador, or a royal knight? Answer in a moment.
Well, his attitude was, I was supposed to pick him up on Wednesday. That was my job, which I was unaware of my job.
So, you saw my memories then. I once asked my master if he said no. But in a war, that's why. An idea that, but that means I must defeat him. Because my master, yes, although his decision to train me was, I know, he's no longer into that. But he sends every time I hear, maybe that means I do live. I don't know what master has planned, but I have to be ready.
Hello. Hi. Hi.
She helped restore it, by the way. Let's just see a place. Experience it.
Help me?
Chicken that tastes like cardboard? I don't do cardboard.
With Go Henry, kids learn to earn, save, spend, and invest, all in one place. Completing chores for extra pocket money, setting savings goals, and making smarter spending decisions while you grow a pot of money for when they turn 18 with the Go Henry Junior Stocks and Shares ISA. Join over 2.2 million kids who have already learned money skills with Go Henry. Visit GoHenry.com or download the app today.
Sounds like Ocho time. Feel the fun with 500 free bingo tickets when you deposit £10. Hastings Direct is simple. Great cover, great price, and a great app makes us one of the UK's top choices when comparing car insurance online.
I'm almost gone for like
Direct.
2 seconds and then she comes back. You're both okay.
What does it look like?
You have to experience it to truly appreciate the beauty, the wildlife.
Only water from the source can cleanse the rot. I taught you to incorporate the experiences from...
Okay, so I'm on whatever. I learned from
All in exceptional Viking comfort. We invite you to discover the world's 7th continent, Antarctica.
We're gonna deal with this thing for
Viking,
good, right?
exploring the world in comfort.
This time, I'm not going to tell you to hold back. But having digested even more power in the meantime, he's going to... The good news is, we have no reason to pull our punches.
Who has been charged of fixing potholes? VAR. Drivers in park right here. Do not pay.
And now a message for the nation's dog owners. Dog Seekers is calling on you to help shape the future of dogs and their owners by filling out the National Dog Survey today.
Is your dog trying to tell you something? Search National Dog Survey.
Elijah.
I have other interests. Do you think he would know?
Ask the questions, Miss Felton.
I'm investigating the murder.
There's been another murder. Stop assuming that there is a murderer around every corner.
Before we go now, Prince William is the youngest person in history to become what? Lieutenant, ambassador, knight. The answer is a royal knight. Became Royal Knight Companion of the Most Noble Order of the Garter, which is he fought for arcade CMNOG.
No, I don't think I'm born in the right family.
Well, he's bad to keep his nose clean, although mind you, I think Andrew's one as well.
Yeah.
And they had to hide him.
But that's a much higher rank of knighthood than David Beckham got.
Well, it's a royal knighthood, yeah.
Exactly.
But Andrew's got it. I mean, basically, if you're given the rank that Andrew's got, then that's maybe awkward.
Yeah.
If you want to learn more about our heir to the throne, you can watch Prince William, Passion, Honour, Duty. You'll enjoy that, Pfizer.
I'll totally.
That's tomorrow. Can I just can you note down the time? You got a pen?
Yeah, let me just do it.
9 p.m. on 5. Okay. So there you have to watch that.
Wait, isn't that the form the all-devouring narwhal changed into?
Take a few more calls.
Really?
And he should.
So,
Go ahead and
you're
vote for
telling
Sister
Paimon
Dice.
that
There's been
giant
quite
wheel
a
and this
lot of
guy can
aggro
both turn
over this
into the
bill,
fowl?
and people changing their
How does
minds
that
to the
work?
point where you're thinking it's going to fail. John in Nottingham, do you want it to fail?
Subconscious instinct. Any intelligent to them.
Okay. Nervilla isn't here this time.
Organisation, and I feel that people split in for domestic abuse will have every reason to be very concerned.
Now, I'm going to try and work out why. Because they are gaslit and pressured by their partners who will then persuade them that it's better for the world if they basically take their own lives. Is that right?
That's absolutely right. Jeremy, you know amongst all the different forms of abuse, there's such a thing as financial abuse. And you can walk into just about any branch of any bank or building society in the country today.
Forgot your training, I hope.
But warn against financial abuse may try to provide safeguards. But financial abuse still happens on a regular basis.
Water jet!
And I feel that with this kind of bill, it's still guys, the safeguards are not strong enough to protect victims of the
John, thank you. Well put. Bianca and Kent, hi.
Hi, good morning.
Do you want this bill to go ahead? I'm thinking about Esther Ransom today, who's obviously at the end of her life, desperately wanting this thing to go through. But what do you think, Bianca?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it firsthand. I mean, I'm going back 20 years, and my partner's dad had motor neurone, and it was back at the time when I'd never heard of it. You know, 20 years ago, it wasn't how it is today. And obviously, it's a slightly different depth because there is a protocol. But I can remember it so clearly. I remember the whole sort of thing lasted for a year and a half. And, you know, after about the first 6 months, when he was in a wheelchair and things started not working, he couldn't lift his arm, and they weren't major things, and he kept on a smile for the sake of his family. And but every we talked about it openly, and his other son tried to get it particularly. You know, watching the last year of his life, first hand being there, you know, when he's fallen over and he's rushed himself and
Yeah.
and I just think very hard to get him, even now, what the hell they're saying that they need to go ahead with it. He wouldn't be capable of administering any drugs himself.
Interesting.
Thank you, Bianca. Thank you. Let's remember what's coming up on the show. First up, should hospital consultants strike over pay? More walkouts could be on the cards as the union calls for a 35% pay rise over the next few years. 0207 862 2222. Then you can decide if Pfizer and my title of the album, 0207 862 2222 is the number. If you want to get in touch with 16p a minute from a landline. Oh, and there's one thing I need to say. Yes, mobile, make it good. Social media, I do recommend Instagram. It's quite chatty and nice and polite. Obviously, X is the opposite. Blue Sky. TikTok is funny. Then we got the Threads and YouTube. We've got a channel on YouTube. So, we got this earlier, didn't we? With us, the Beatles. It's Harrison who's in silhouette in the middle there. Deep silhouette. And it's a hard day's night. Oh, let's talk to Vanessa to see what's coming up on your brilliant day.
Good morning, Jeremy. Thank you. We're getting coffee to Sally Tunnel. I guess today, when they're
Hello.
He's away. I've had enough of my power.
Oi, cheap chop. Trying to work out how to get out there, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are, aren't you?
Tell me he's not loud.
How are you, little fella?
Senior doctors around £145,000 a year on
funny
average pay rises totaling 35% by April 2027. Consultants saw a 4% boost to their pay last month. To make up for almost 2 decades of zero-term cuts and to prevent skilled workers from moving overseas, the government pointed out the consultant starting salary has increased by more than 25%.
Well, firstly, I do think that any worker should have the right to strike and negotiate. I mean, that's just how you make sure that you get better conditions. I think this point about real terms pay cuts, none of us would like that because we've seen our bills go up, and if your pay in real terms is going down, anyone would be upset about that. So, you know, I get
It does that, doesn't it?
Yeah, but most people expect their pay to at least stay in line with inflation. But public sector workers, so yes, senior consultants, senior doctors, nurses, teachers, firefighters, since 2010 have seen their pay, or even before
Serologies.
How long has it been?
Hundreds of years.
Hundreds.
And I think
Sorry.
it's right that
This is the first.
Hundred? Sounds like you and Matt.
Of course. I trained the sword.
Hey, Zoe, you know you love
Time my heart
What?
hardened, and I became aimless.
My turn.
Different in background. He was
I know how dare she.
the son of criminals.
Right, Mum, while you're in the kitchen, make some crumpets.
Spent his childhood.
That does sound like something.
He was the first to
Buddy, stay.
that I was worth something, and he inspired me to keep going. When I was 10, he stole forbidden research materials and managed to keep me alive in this. It was like there was nothing in this
Well, I
world.
did buy 2 packs, so there should be some somewhere.
When it came
Well, I didn't
to
buy
the
them.
human form,
I bet you they're in the
he
living
was
room.
always
No.
intent on pushing
Go
the
fetch.
boundaries
Go on,
of
then.
possibility.
I mean, bottle.
For the best angel ever.
Have a look, clean in the book.
He's not cleaning the bum, his dad is.
Whatever was successful.
So is the dog.
He sought me out.
That's not hard, is it?
But he's got to get real and realise that
Why didn't I leave all
he's
the
a very
crumpets?
valuable member of society, but there's other valuable members of society. Do you think a fireman should say, I'm not rushing into that burning building until I get a 45%
Well, that's a good point. Firemen are more important.
yeah, but firemen and fire people, I mean, they
Hey, Mom. No? Didn't I buy 2 packs? We've already had 2 packs. Time for toaster toast. Oh,
George, you left me one.
I didn't leave you one. Hold it.
Sharnish. Get 12 crumpets, I can't even have one.
All I can do is try. After all,
I know, Mom. I know.
people need to fight for their own.
Aww. Diddums. Aren't you gonna make your toast? Aren't you gonna make your toast? Please.
You know as well as all that sounds foolish. Only the most outstanding people would have the right to become my disciple. Still self-assured as ever, I see. But you're not wrong.
Who would help if I knew where the bread was? Would you like me to use Paul's bread? Okay. Chung.
Oh, it's just funny.
As I've said before, whatever path you want, freedom means even the wicked get to make their own choices. Waiting for me from the sea.
You're hot? This feels like torture.
Because, of course, I believe the curse of immortality.
You know about that going on.
So, you use the curse to turn yourself into a vessel.
Hello, you want to sit? Go to sit then.
Oh, it's not as bad as that then.
They become highly
I'm
skilled.
dropping the kid
They
off.
could leave and get somewhere else.
What? Ian?
Pour your heart into it. Work for
We
it.
do not want
Dream
angry
it.
surgeons.
You store some food.
No, let him fucking eat his food, then you can have a massive smile.
Okay, so somebody holding a scalpel.
He's being
I think that would be unprofessional.
You know, the surgeon stand in a theatre with the scalpel has arrived at that hospital in a Mercedes car, has probably travelled from his £750,000 house.
Hey, Stinky. Buddy.
Despair
Stinky bum bum.
force you to catch up to him. All the while, standing ever out of reach.
True.
Have you been
But
treated
I
by
made
one
up
you
my
recently?
mind long besides.
Since you're his friend, first time we came here, but you had to devote all your...
It was the joy of a reason. Exactly.
One where his opponent forces him
To use all his strength,
Like you
after
can't
which
get to sleep
all can
all
come to an
day.
end.
Can you not think?
He's a big nasty swine.
No, put it in.
I'm looking for a sign here. You've got to mute your TV.
Nasty swine.
Oh, Auntie Zoe, let me pull you there.
good and evil are meaningless to him. He has one purpose, one goal, to complete
Nana's got
himself.
hair.
It's one of the secrets to his
Well, I
strength.
mean, that's the market.
Nana says not long enough.
But that comes up, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's relative value, it's supply and demand. You know, what I'd say to them
You've
is,
got a grey hair on me. How dare you?
defence systems for our military, which save our lives. They're just as important as doctors. They're not asking for a 35% pay rise.
They'll have their own internal negotiations. They'll have their own
Don't get paid that much money.
Searching
But listen,
through
a
my
bus
mind.
driver decides he's having a bad mood, he can kill 20 people.
Be able to hold
So
on to
if we're doing that game,
what's offered to free me from this curse.
Great, isn't it? In a way, you need people
I
to be
can,
represented to have
but not through
ideas,
death.
to
It's
be
not a
together,
suitable
to represent
punishment for your
themselves and make
crime.
sure that they get the pay
As an
that
the
they
impurities will
deserve.
dissipate. And under the curse of immortality, your mind and body will regenerate. When that process, but it will be a time-consuming and painful process.
Consultants say, "Let's more money. We're not going to operate on volume."
We are
I still think that Paul has a point about we're sort of focusing on some of the heroes in society here, and actually people like the bosses of our water companies, Thames Water and all the rest have been getting these huge pay rises year after year, even feels like day after day, and like these bonuses which are completely wrong.
Yeah,
And
some,
that's
something,
really.
well, there's no doubt. We talk about it.
Whereas these are doing their job and doing
Yeah.
it well and saving people's lives.
But it's
I
a job,
will reach the top of this
Michelle and Devon,
mountain,
hi.
no matter what it takes.
Do you think we should give this
Trouble at the minute, so everybody's got to pull the vote in.
And you,
But
Scott,
most of the consultants
will be my
don't
witness.
just work for the NHS. I've had private care and
Let's get out of
when you
here.
go into private and when you go and see them and they, you
At least we don't have to make a mad dash for the exit like last
do the day
time.
job in the NHS and then they go over to the private hospital and do their private work.
It's true, and the private, when you access the private system, it's totally different from the NHS.
And very expensive.
And very expensive, and that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
But you're right, Michelle. Maybe but the government can't say to them, "We're not giving you a pay rise because you can earn more money elsewhere." That's not a negotiating position, is it?
Well, at the minute, they need to, half the time, they need to get all these queues there. These queues aren't going down like they say they are. you know.
I don't know.
Stinky.
They've certainly told us they are. Oh, you're suspicious, are you?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I needed a nip off and I waited 24
Easy
months
peasy.
before I had one. And by the time I did it, I was off my feet, so I'm having to learn to walk again now.
It's shocking. Absolutely shocking. Thank you very much. That might have been a Tory thing. I don't know. That's that.
I mean, it is going to the private sector more. I mean,
The
that's how
power
we're
scarf
seeing
Nuger
it
stole has been
where
returned.
down, he's using the private sector more. So there is this thing about, I mean, she's right, that a lot of
crazy
consultants
that you
seem to be very-
I suppose it's because
become very wealthy. Doctors
the
can be
false
very wealthy in
stars
this country.
Do you think
hanging in the
we should
meticulously
prioritise people
planned
who
sky.
operate fast?
It's not real.
Because there was a dentist in
And yet,
Leicester who
it is for
Desmond
that very
DeMello, who
reason
treated,
even the
I
most
think he had
beautiful
something like
bubbles has
20,000
to
patients on
burst.
his books. He was done for
We will
hygiene, not
return to the
having
real
drugs in it.
universe when time
But
marches
God, you
ever
just quit
forward.
that guy.
Though we gaze
I think
upon a
that's
false
right.
sky,
Yeah, I don't
it's
think
vast.
that's a good trade-off.
This is all going over Paimon's head.
45 minutes to
You've
replace
seen him
this
ever
bar.
since we met.
Toast is done.
He has been
No, it's dead, Mom. Looks like it's gonna be cold.
Well, you can reheat on that one.
It's too big a job. We've met so many amazing friends and accomplished so many amazing things. As long as we don't give up, we can make any wish come true.
I suppose when it comes to you, anything is possible. Well, I'm going. Now that my power is no longer isolated from my emotions, I need more practice. I suppose fate will decide. Maybe we'll bump into each other on the street. Or maybe we'll reunite on a different planet entirely. Regardless, reunions and partings are but passing moments. More than anything, I hope that at the end of this journey, wherever it takes us, we stand in a world reborn.
Not when she forces me to do toast.
To earn holiday money. They can create savings goals for
Oh, I thought the bottle was hard. What do you smell? Really badly.
Is it just pie, Mom? Or is she being... Hey, what do you think about camping here tonight? There's nothing quite like sleeping under the stars.
Thank you for the toast, Mom.
I'm not fucking fair on the lid either.
Looking at this one, let's keep that one under your pelt, mate. Back a bingo. Legends of play. Back in the day. Which would you gift? One mini break or
Pulls
three?
back.
From Woucher. Woucher. Shop now. Give.
Taking your happiness seriously since 1922.
Electric cars are built to save the planet. But with zero emissions, is there also zero danger?
We've had the cause of cars having
Oh my god, the guitar.
Today, Wednesday, watch, stream, and buy.
Glenn Close, and it's of course Mr. Cruz. And also might be Sir Dolly Parton as well. That's going, or Lady Parton, going wrong. Day Parton, Day Dolly. Welcome back to Love and Fun. It's the papers and everything else for today. If it's rude to start eating your food.